check in NetSuite can be done with or without reversing journal entry. Let's start with voiding a check without a reversing journal entry. In this process, NetSuite voids the check, sets the status to voided, and sets the transaction amount to 0. Here's an example of a check that I need to void. To void this check, let's click on Edit button. Notice that a void button appears on edit mode. Now let's click on this void button and click OK on the confirmation pop-up. Go to our recent records and check the sample check record. Notice that the memo is now showing void and the status is now voided. Under the list, you'll see that the expenses are now 0 and the check total is now 0. Here's another check that I need to void, but this one has already been cleared. Let's go into edit mode and click the void button. If the check was previously cleared, NetSuite unmatches it or removes its cleared status, and if the check was previously reconciled, it becomes unreconciled. Note that voiding a check without a reversing journal entry may cause inconsistencies in your account reconciliation, such as an incorrect balance. A confirmation window appears to warn users of the aforementioned effect. You can click Cancel to not void the check or click OK to proceed. Let's click OK. Going back to the check, the status is now voided. Our memo says void and the transaction is set to 0. Let's now discuss voiding with a reversing journal entry. In this process, NetSuite voids the check and then records a journal entry with an opposite transaction amount to cancel out the general ledger impact of the check. In this process, the void transactions using reversing journals preference should be enabled. To do that, let's go to Setup, Accounting Preferences, and under General tab, let's mark the void transactions using reversing journals. Then click Save. Here's a sample check that I need to void. Notice that when the preference is enabled, the void button is available on view mode. Now let's click on the void button and we will be routed to the voiding journal page. You may add memo as needed or change the transaction date and the posting period, but notice that the void of field and the line section are not editable. Once we're good, we can click on the Save button. You may access the check by using the reversal number field or the void of field. The system sets the check status to voided, and after a transaction is voided, we can no longer make any changes that have general ledger impact to the original transaction, including changing the posting period or changing the check amount. Let's try changing the check amount to $200 and click Save. Notice that we receive a warning. This transaction is voided and will remain voided even if you make modifications to it. Let's click Cancel and Cancel. Here's another check that we can void. Let's click the Void button. This one has already been cleared. So let's try creating the voiding journal by clicking Save. Notice that this time we did not receive any warning from the system. This is because if you void a cleared check with a reversing journal entry, the check remains matched and cleared. And if the check was previously reconciled, it remains reconciled.